Hi, welcome to another episode of the Japa Podcast. I'm Victor, and I hope you missed me while I was away. And this is the first episode for the new season, season two of the Japa Podcast. Of course, I had to take a longer time to return based on the fact that the last episode or the last season ended with me sharing about the loss of two family members and being out of a job. And so it's me basically, this year has been me trying to pull my life together and set things in motion. But here we are, and I'm glad you are still listening. Welcome back. So, as usual on this podcast, I always have a guest, and on this episode, I have a very beautiful woman I'm going to let introduce herself.
Hi everyone. Oh, that was so sweet. I love being called a beautiful woman. Hey everyone, my name is Vanessa. I am a fashion journalist, a Nigerian fashion journalist living in the UK. I've lived in the UK for about 4-ish years now. And it's an honor to be on this podcast. I'm excited to share my experiences with Victor. Victor's calmed me down a bit. So we're all guns blazing now. We're ready to go.
All right. I mean, I'm told I have that effect of calming people down. All right.
It's a good
So,
quality to have as a podcaster.
okay. Thank you very much. All right. So, let's talk. What have you been up to, at least for the last 1 week, since we're getting into a new week?
Oh, last week has been all right. Work as per usual. Thankfully, I work from home for most of the week except Friday because I work for a fashion gaming company, so I can work from home pretty much most of the time, which is great. I also had to help my friend move because my friend had to move to Nigeria yesterday actually. So it's been a busy week. Um, yeah, but otherwise it's been a good week. It's been a good week. Ready to get into the next week. The sun's shining in London today, which is great. Um,
Yeah.
we'll take the sun anytime.
See, I get so excited about the sun in a way that I never did all
Oh,
my
I
life.
would.
Like,
Yeah, things we
so
took
you
for
mentioned,
granted.
yes, we took it for granted because in Nigeria you have the sun almost every other day. But
Mm-hmm.
here it's like it's seasonal and it comes when it
Right.
comes. And
I fight for the sun, to be honest. I find myself praying for the sun more than I pray for other things. I'm like, God, can the sun
yes,
come out today, please?
yes. Now you mentioned your friend is going back. I mean, you're not especially for your friends, but why is
Mhm.
anybody returning? Okay, that's a very harsh way to put it. Why is your friend returning to Nigeria?
Circumstances out of her control.
Okay,
That's as much as I can say. Yeah,
all right.
it was a heartbreaking airport trip yesterday, I won't even lie. Um, but yeah, circumstances out of her control. If it was left to her, she wouldn't.
Okay. I
Yeah.
mean, it's fine. I mean, you don't have to divulge your friend's
Hmm.
issue, but it's just like it's a bit surprising
It
because at
is.
this
It is.
point, a lot of people are trying to leave the country and then someone is going back.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. So let's dive right. Okay, okay. I'll have to give a little view of how I've been, especially
Hmm.
since I've not been recording. So in the last episode, I'd mentioned I plan to travel because going through grieving period and being alone, I don't think that was the right thing to do, especially
No.
during the holiday. So I made plans to visit two of my friends during the holiday. One was in Bonn, Germany, which I was able to do. And after that, I returned home for a few days and I went to Poland to see another friend of mine. And I think for me, it's made the holiday period a little easy, even though
Easier.
I
Hmm.
ruined Christmas because I started crying. Of course, what would you have me do? It's the first Christmas of losing my immediate younger sister, and it's still the most heartbreaking thing ever. And beyond that, I also had lost my job around the same time. So I've not gotten a new job, but I'm still here and I'm still able to pay my bills. Thanks to God. So yeah, so pretty much that has been my year trying
I'm so
to.
sorry for your loss. Honestly, grieving alone is hard.
It
Yeah,
is the worst. It is the
it's so bad.
worst.
My granddad died last year, and I'm the only one here, and it was hard. The only thing I was really grateful for was that I had gone home to Nigeria to see him before, because he'd been asking of me since I left, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go in January last year, and literally at the most 8 weeks after, I got called and I was by myself here, grieving by yourself. is rough. I'm so glad that you found a way to find friends, go over, be around people at the very least. Just having people around you is
Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you for bringing that insight. And actually, since that happened, I've been trying to find someone who has also experienced loss from a
mm,
distance. The way I describe it is like you are experiencing something whilst you're being removed from it. So
hmm
it's like, but I'm here. And also like, but I'm not, that kind of thing. And it's crazy. Well, also on the good side, I said the new newsletter. I said the newsletter.
hmm
So I just had the first newsletter published a few days ago.
Oh, congrats.
I hope I continue with the momentum. Of course, I just realized I missed the days of vlogging, and I thought maybe get back to it. But instead of
Mm,
trying to write about different things, maybe write about your experience, and that's what I've been trying to do. So that's been me for the last couple of months because that's like 2 months of being away. So
that's awesome. Congrats on the news. Man. I always, this is the thing about former bloggers, isn't it? We also want to go back to the written word, and
yes,
especially of our own personal thing, and it's not for your job and thing. And every time I toy with it, and I never really actually commit full time to actually doing it. So congrats on publishing the first one. Honestly,
thank
the
you.
first one is the hardest, isn't it?
I think so too, which is why I'm also trying to do just 1 month because I don't want to get to commit. I don't want it to become a huge commitment that I have to push a lot of things around to make it work.
Mm,
So I think if I do 1 month, it's something that I can sustain.
yeah, yeah,
And
and
at
then
least
you
blogging
go from there
is
and
it.
see if you wanna, yeah.
Yeah, and see if I can do more than once a month.
Mm-hmm.
At least I'm not so keen on building
The readership,
followers. How we
yeah,
used to at the time. You want everybody to read what you've written, but these days I'm like,
comment
no,
and
it's
say something.
fine. It's fine. If it's one or two persons, read it and it's fine. Because for me, it's just basically reconnecting to something I used to love doing, basically sharing my opinion, sharing my experience of things, and that's just it.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, when you're writing for work or for academic purposes, it's always like,
Different. It's
do I
different.
have
It's
to do
different.
this
Yeah,
though? Yeah,
different. Yeah.
exactly. Well, let's dive into it. So,
Okay.
how did your journey to the UK start?
Ooh. Um, I've never really thought about this. Now that I think about it, I think my journey to the UK started in 2017.
Okay, and you traveled in 2020.
It's almost 2020. So I was one of those kids who went into uni really early. I went into uni. I was 14 going on 15. It was like a few weeks.
That's quite early. How did you
Finished uni at like
survive?
18. Yeah, yeah. Finished uni at like 18. Did NYSC. Finished NYSC at like 19. Um, and then I decided to go on a long gap year. I was like decided, but like that's how it panned out. So like I wasn't in a rush to join the work market. I was only 19. I
It
also
makes
wanted to
sense
work.
too. Why would you want to rush into such suffering?
Exactly. I was only 19. I loved fashion. I wanted to work in fashion. It wasn't the most Nigeria at the time wasn't the most, still probably isn't the most organized fashion journalism, doesn't have the most organized fashion journalism space, which is what I wanted to do. I didn't want to be a designer. I didn't want to be a stylist. I wanted to do journalism, but fashion journalism. And Nigeria wasn't doing that yet in like the most organized, structured way.
Yeah, I see
So
what you
I
mean.
decided, yeah. So I decided to start a blog. So I started a blog. And
Okay.
as we all do. And when I first started my blog, it was very much personal style and everything. But I knew I wanted this to be my way of doing fashion journalism. So I found a short course. I found a 1 month short course at the London College of Fashion. And I came to London in 2017 for about a month and a few weeks and did my short course. And it kind of just as a tester, right? Just to see if this was something I wanted to go back to school for. Because like I was
Yeah.
basically fatigued with school. I was 19 and I was fatigued from school. So I was like, do I want to go back to school? I don't know if I want to do a master's. Mom was like, okay, just test the water, see. So I did the 1 month short course. I liked the course. I still didn't know if I wanted to do a master. So I came back home, reshaped my blog, made it more editorial. in my own point of view. I was doing things like trend reports. I had gone to Fashion Week in 2018, so I did a runway report from Fashion Week
Yeah.
type situation. And I was doing basically running my blog until 2020. So that was like 3 years. And then in 2020, I was like, okay, I may have to go back to school. I'm 23 now. If I want to start a career, I have to start a career soon. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I have to go back to school, solidify myself in fashion journalism, that type of thing. Wanted to go Australia because that was 2020. Not to
Why
talk
would you want to go to Australia?
because it was a good fashion school. I'm sorry. It was
I
at
know.
the time the Australian dollar and in reference to the Nigerian exchange rate was pretty good. Was
Yes, but it's
better than
far from everywhere.
I know it's far. I know it's far. It was a thought. It was ridiculous. It was a long, like a whole day, 2 days type journey. But at the time, I thought it was what I wanted to do. So
Yeah.
I looked into it. I found a school. The time difference was horrible. Like when I did my school interview, it was basically like 2 a.m. our time, Nigerian time. It was bad.
Yeah.
I had to stay up just to do like the school interview, get on the phone with the call and everything. Um, Managed to get into the school, didn't get the visa.
Well,
Yeah. It was round about that time. It was about January, February, March. The wildfires in Australia began. My mom was like, well, maybe that's why you didn't get a visa. Before you be in that country, fire is catching everywhere.
that's God taking you a different way.
Literally, she's like, fire is catching everywhere. And then you'll be by yourself. And my mom's only child. So she's like, before they will say
Let's
Angela
not do that, please.
where fire is catching the place.
I
And
know,
then COVID
right?
hit.
Yeah.
And we were in lockdown. And the thing about lockdown is I don't know if it was everybody, but me, I got into my head. I started thinking about my life and where I was in life and what was up with my life. My grandma had died the year before. It was a long year of mourning for me, I wouldn't even lie. Because
Yeah.
it came as a surprise. No one really thought she was gonna die. She had a stroke within a month. My grandma was dead. So it was a
So sorry.
long year of grieving for me, 2019. I basically withdrew from everyone. I wouldn't even lie. Even before the lockdown, I withdrew from everyone. The blogging community were like, Vanessa, we don't see you out and about in Abuja anymore. I was like, yeah, I'm kind of going through a lot. So 2020 just came. I was at home alone with my thoughts, thinking about what I wanted to do with my future. And at the time, I still hadn't considered the UK. I won't even lie. And then 2010, 20 hit. Lucky the the
Ah,
and I was like, yeah, Nigeria doesn't seem like a place that I want to be in for the rest of my life. It wasn't like I never was one of those people who wanted to leave Nigeria.
same here.
Not because life in Nigeria was perfect. No. But I had my family here. My mom's there, my cousins are there. At the time, my grandpa was still there. I loved my life in Nigeria. Was it perfect? No. I never really thought I wanted to leave. But then after what happened at Lekki Tollgate happened and all the things that happened leading to it, it was just like almost like a shock to the system type thing. And you're wondering, it almost felt like Nigeria kills her own. And you're like, is this where I want to be? And my mom was like, so I know you were worrying about money and exchange rates UK. If you really want to leave, you might have to consider the UK. Visa wise, getting a student visa will probably be easier than Australia was. You've gotten a short term student visa before in the past, so you have travel history. I feel like it will be easier for you to do the. I wouldn't even lie to you. It was literally a thing about within 1 month my coming to the UK. Having the conversation, November here, it was okay, apply for the course. I applied for 2 courses. So my master's was a fashion communication master's, but there were 3 tiers under it. So there
Yeah.
was journalism, image making, and critical study. I don't know who told me and what I thought was in my head that told me I should apply for the image making course. So I applied for the image making course. I'm not a photographer, but like I was looking at it from the perspective of like a creative director type role and like
Yeah.
creating the images without actually shooting them yourself. But I got on the interview with the school. I managed to get past the application process, got invited for the interview. And the course rep, the leader, was like, as much as the description of the course makes it seem like you can do like a creative director type role from the course, and the course is very much photography heavy, and you will have to be able to take photos yourself. That there've been people on the course who don't do photography before. It was harder for them because they had to find other people to shoot the pictures, and it was harder for them. So he doesn't think he would recommend the course. So he didn't put me forward to be accepted. I was scrambling. I was
Wow.
scrambling. I was like, I didn't get accepted into this course. What? And then my mom was like, you do realize that you have a mass communication degree. Just do journalism and move on with your life. And
Like, just get it
the
sorted
window
out,
was
please.
closing. The window was for that woman. The window was closing, and I literally rushed. Applied for the journalism course. There was a writing assignment for like a long, I think it was like a 300 to 500 like article. I had to find a topic, wrote it, had my friends proofread, edit all of that, sent it in, did the interview, and literally on the call, you know this thing where it's like when it wants to happen, it happens. Literally on
Yes.
the phone with the interview, the course leader goes, "So I'm gonna accept you for the course, and you've been admitted into the course. You're gonna get an email in the next week." So literally, as soon as he was like, "You're gonna get an email in the next week or two," my mom was like, "Well, now we have to start visa applications because the course is beginning in January. This is
Yeah.
November. You have to leave." So this was the rush, and was like, "Okay." He sent me the letter. I had to do my application. We literally paid fast track for this thing. Did did the test and all of that, and literally on the anniversary, 2 months after the Lekki took, I arrived in London 2012, 20.
That was just 2 months. I mean,
Literally,
this is the fastest I've seen, to be honest.
honestly, it was rough. People were like, "Vanessa, I didn't know you were traveling." I was like, even me myself, I didn't know I was traveling.
And then also imagine the mental toll it must have taken on you, because it's like,
It was snappy. I wouldn't even lie. It was the snappiest thing. I hadn't solidified accommodation.
yeah,
Literally a day before I arrived, we were still in talks with like a rental agency. I'd seen a room I liked, but like there was a whole thing with me being outside the country doing these negotiations. I hadn't even viewed it in person.
yeah.
There were bank details, account details, all of that hula baloo. Ended up staying with a family friend for about 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Then before I moved into London and like into yeah, it was a rough time. I wouldn't even.
It was a rough part. And I imagine, did you feel ready? I mean, I don't imagine you
No.
felt ready, but also I'm trying to find what was going on in your head. Because I said this because when you read about travel, I think I read somewhere that it takes about 18 months for people to relocate, regardless of where they are moving to, because it's both the decision making and the step-by-step process. And
Mhm.
now here you have been able to decide you're going to do a master's, do the application, get the admission, do the visa in just 2 months. So I'm
Managed to get
like
a
trying to
scholarship somewhere
wonder
in
what
there.
was going on in your head.
It was go time. It was go time. I wouldn't even lie. I do. I struggle with focus sometimes, but when I'm focused, I'm focused. And if it means getting it done, it genuinely was go time, even with the application, because I was like, this was us moving on faith. Like I wouldn't even. I think we had started the application process even before I got into the. No, we had bought a flight. We bought a ticket, flight ticket. Usually you do a reservation. We had paid for the flight even before my visa came out. My mom was like, I was like, when my mom and I were back, I was like, "Mommy, this thing that we're doing." She was like, "Nah, you get it." But I've gotten the visa. I don't know why you're worried. You've gotten the visa. I just, oh, she was like, "Oh, you got the visa." I'm really in faith on this thing right now. Literally, it was the honest thing. Filing the application, I even applied for a scholarship because I was like, people are gonna at least give me £5,000. Give me my stress. I was so surprised. I got the scholarship. So, sometimes when it's the perfect time, it's the perfect time. I would lie.
It is the
That's
perfect
how it
time. Yeah,
felt.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I like the fact that you mentioned the 2010-20 incidents.
Mhm.
And it's, I think it's that day was such a, I don't want to say pivotal, because I would like to use pivotal in a positive lens. So I
Mm,
don't want to say pivotal, but then I think for a lot of people, that was the breaking point.
it was.
I mean, for me, I was already thinking I want to study, do a master's abroad.
Mm.
I've also started learning German. But after that day, I was like, holy shit. I had to, no, one of
It
those,
has to be
you know, I
real.
slept off. I actually was sleeping when that incident was happening. So I just woke up. My friend was calling me, and the friend was supposed to be in the protest. And he was like, have you seen what I sent you on Instagram? I said on WhatsApp, I checked it. And I'm like, no, basically, I went to that live and I fucking dropped my phone because what the fuck is going on? It was just so unimaginable. And it's like also the way the government handled it, claiming nothing happened. But my friend
The
lost a
aftermath was
friend
rough.
on that day. And I had the friend that called me, he had, if not that he lived further down Lekki, he maybe would have run into those people because he had left there shortly before. So like another kind of thing. It's that day was a very rough day, and I think I've also interviewed people who agree that that was when they made up their mind that this is what we have to do
Yeah,
because it's like for me, I never wanted to leave Nigeria. I mean, I thought okay, maybe go for a
come back.
study for a year or two, come back. Right now, I always say, for me to leave this country, they will have to drag me, and I'll be screaming and shouting and biting and fighting because where are you taking me to? Because do you know how things are back in the country? Well, like when you speak to anybody back in Nigeria, they're narrating the experience of things. It's always like there's nothing. I don't know. I think there was. If we go to Twitter, for instance, because that's where we hear of most of the news. There's
Hmm.
always something happening. There's always
Yeah,
something happening. If it's
yeah.
not a kidnap, it's someone missing. And nobody
It's a
is held
fire. The amount of
responsible.
fire incident.
And nobody, no single person is ever held responsible.
No, no,
Which is, I
no.
mean, which is why everything is like this. Because if someone is made a scapegoat out of, maybe the other people would learn a lesson from it. But it's God, I don't like the fact I'm doing this rant.
But yeah, genuinely, it was the moment for me. Honestly, it solidified that I needed to leave. It genuinely solidified that I needed to leave.
Now in the UK, you've started
Mm.
your studies. At what point did it maybe hit you like maybe I'm actually not very similar to these people in this class? Maybe like you realize, okay, I'm actually from Nigeria and these people are really UK people. Like at what point did it hit you?
So my course lead, and he was the lead of the entire like fashion communication aside from fashion journalism. So he was the leader of that main like masters thing. And he made a point to say frequently, Vanessa is the first Nigerian from Nigeria on the course. Period. Period. I'm the first Nigerian from Nigeria on the course. There have been other Nigerians born in the UK, maybe come from somewhere else, but first Nigerian from Nigeria. I was the first Nigerian
Nigeria.
on the course. Period. And the course has been around. We literally celebrated 50 years of fashion journalism at Central St. Martin.
Well,
The
of
course
course, it
has been
makes
around
sense.
for that
Nobody
long.
goes to study fashion journalism in Nigeria. I'm sorry.
They're studying fashion, they're either doing fashion design or you're
Yes.
or something. Nobody does journalism. Fine, we'll say that. But like yeah, it hit me. It hit me even before I got to the UK. So after we all got accepted into the course, a number, I guess the people on journalism, we got put into a group chat. Well, they organized the group chat, and I think he was the one who set it up because there was a group chat with him, and then we later formed one on our own. But like we all got put into a group chat, and I was going through these names. Hey, chicken, nah.
None of the name felt familiar.
It didn't feel familiar at all. Oh. There was one other girl that had an African name. She was even there. There were two girls with an African name. There was one other girl who was Nigerian, but then she literally dropped out of the course like first week in because she had a family issue that we never really knew about. But like literally, she was here and then she was gone. So that left me and this other girl. And the other girl, as much as she had an African name, she was very much British. You know, she was born here, raised here. Um, so it was just me, and I could tell the difference. Do you know? Like,
Yes,
is
because
this
I
how it's
mean,
gonna be?
you get, Because sorry, fashion design is an Oyibo course. You have to be an Oyibo or a proper Ajebo. Because what are you doing? Why do you want to be a fashion journalist?
I
Because
wouldn't
imagine that
lie.
it's not just the fact that they are not Nigerians or Africans, it's also the fact that they are Boti from even the UK side of things. How did all of that make you feel? And was there a point where you began to wonder, did I really fit in? Basically,
I, I will say, I will say, as much as on a basic level, everybody wants to fit in, yeah? You don't want to feel like you're different. You don't want to feel like you're a complete anomaly. I was probably 4 or 5 years old when my mom told me there's nothing wrong with being different. There's nothing wrong with
yeah,
standing out. You don't always
true.
have to fit in. You don't have to bend yourself and break yourself to fit into a mold and a box that isn't yours. The people that love you, that want you, that want to be around you, will like you for who you are. Flaws are not. So to be honest, I didn't really care about fitting in.
Okay,
No, no,
nice.
no, 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 no. It doesn't. I wouldn't lie. Did it do me a bit of a disservice when it came to forming relationships with the people on the course and like deep seated friendships? Because there's people who did the masters with me in my course who've developed long term friendships now. They've lived together, that type situation. I wasn't one of those people. Like I'm friendly with all of them, love them to bits.
Yeah,
See them in maybe once in a while, check in, say hi, how you doing? You good? Yes. But no deep seated friendships. But that's also because I didn't want to. I felt like the basis for which those friendships would be developed would mean me breaking and bending myself into shape to seem
fit
more
in.
British.
Yeah,
They tell jokes that I didn't have concepts of understanding, so I wouldn't laugh. Because why am I laughing at a joke I
yeah,
don't understand?
exactly.
Same way I would tell a joke that sometimes, or make a reference that sometimes you
Yeah,
don't
they
understand
will
because
not
my
get,
point of
yes.
reference is very Nigerian. Sometimes other African countries may get my point of reference, but amongst you guys, you don't understand my point of reference. So I'm not gonna try and make you understand my point of reference. It's not gonna work.
It's not going to work, yeah. Yeah, I think I like the fact that you mentioned you were raised to think that it's okay to be different. And I think it was Jola, I think, maybe on I Say What I Said podcast, I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned that there's this confidence that Nigerians on the average have
Mm-hmm.
that even doesn't sometimes allow them to realize that they are different when they are different because they think, whoa, whatever you are saying is not my business.
It's really not.
And I think it's one of the things that also make us seem annoying to the rest of the world because they expect you to calm down and fit into their mode, but you are basically living your life, doing whatever you want to do, and not giving a damn at all.
Mm-hmm.
So now that you're done with your studies, how were you able to transition to work? That laugh.
The things they don't tell you, yeah. So fashion, fashion is very, fashion is a very finicky industry, and I knew that, but I didn't realize how much. So I came here in the pandemic. Well, kind of in the pandemic because early 20 for the first 6 months of my course was completely online because the UK was still in tier 4 lockdown.
Yeah,
Um, Towards the end of the course, they opened up things, but like companies weren't hiring. We wanted to do internships, they weren't taking. No placements, no nothing. Everybody was trying to get back to where they were before the pandemic, so they weren't doing new hires, they weren't doing none of that. I sent in applications. I even was willing to do placements and internships that were unpaid. I just wanted to at least build, because at the end of the day, fashion loves a name drop, which
yeah,
was something I didn't have. Again, with the fitting in, this was something I didn't have like the rest of the people on the course. There were people on the course who done internships in some of the most prestigious, some most prestigious fashion houses. Some of them had interned with some really good magazines. Some people have interned with some really reputable newspapers in London. And for a journalist, especially within fashion, they love a good name drop. They want to see who you know, who you've worked with before, so that if you say, oh yeah, I interned at Vogue and Condé Nast, they're like, oh, did you meet this person when you interned there? And if you can say, yes, I did, or I worked with this person, and there's a girl from New York who had worked with every single person in New York. I would get some guest lecturers in, and they'd be like, oh, hi, how are you? Like she was that type of yes, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm on the course with these people who've done all of that, and I don't have that. I didn't even, and this was the thing that upset me about Nigeria, I won't even lie. I'd applied for internships. I know I had sent an email to Deola Sego's company once to do an internship in like the communications department or like the arts and marketing department, whatever department you people wanted to put me in, I would do an internship. I tried to get myself an internship in Nigeria and it didn't work. So I come here and I'm lacking that on my CV, right? Coupled
Yeah.
with the fact that these people aren't even hiring at all. So my chances are really slim. It was frustrating because you know the UK now, it's a very odd place. You get your 1 year, my master's was 1 year, so you get your 1 year student visa, then you can apply for a 2 year post study work. And in those 2 years, you have to find a job.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I come to Nigeria for you. You know, you have to find a job that sponsors you. And for like, I remember crying. I was like, so this was 2022. 2022 came, I didn't find a job in fashion. I was doing all sorts of other odd jobs. It wasn't until September into October 2022 when I finally got my job. And I remember before then crying and thinking, I know, oh my God, I cried. Oh, 2022, I cried. I was skinny as hell in 2022, I wouldn't even lie. I was thin. I worked Wimbledon. I worked the oddest jobs. And I would be crying. I'd be like, so did my mom and I spend this much money coming to this country for me to be doing hospitality
Hot
jobs,
jobs. Yeah.
doing this weird little thing? I have a master's for crying out loud. So is this how 2 years of my post-work study work visa is gonna go and I won't get a job? Is that what's gonna happen? And it was terrifying, I won't lie. And then towards August, I'd gotten into maybe 3 applications. 2 were magazines, and then one was this one. The one I have now came really late, but the 2 magazines came. And I wasn't like I even applied. They even emailed my course leader, be like, oh, do you know people on the course who are looking for a job? I said, this is the application process. Done. And I hate this thing about fashion communication because you have to do tests. They'll send you editorial work. So you're literally basically writing articles for them.
Ugh.
And I was writing articles at this point, like my brain, maybe that's why I haven't written in years. Like it almost felt like I had used all the fun
You
ideas
just
I
get
had.
tired of writing and writing.
I'd used all the fun ideas I'd had for long form journalism just to apply for work,
Work.
basically. And there was one that I got stuck in the really last parts of it, done like 2 or 3 interviews. They really liked me, only for the application to stall. And they were like, yeah, the company is going through some internal changes. So they're having to.
I hate when that happens. I hate it when it happens. I hate it when it
And I was
happens.
like, okay,
Like, why didn't you go through change before you
before
said
me, go through the
interview?
change. Go through the change before me. Literally, that's how I felt. And yeah, it shocked me. I didn't know. Like I knew that it might be a little difficult to find a job. I didn't know it would
I think it's so because I came into Germany in September. By January, I had a student job.
be.
I had 2 course mates that Nigerian my course. They got their jobs within a month. So my mind, okay, Germany is nice. And then when the contract ended, no job has come. Like when the contract ended, I started applying. I was getting an interview. I'm like, okay, we make progress. All of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden, no interviews, nothing. I'm like, who did I offer? And like you say, it's like, you've done a master's. There's actually, I eventually applied for a job knowing fully well that I'm overqualified for this job. I get a call, and the person says, um, you have a very nice CV. I think a lot of jobs will be going to looking for you, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
blah. But quite unfortunately, we cannot take you. I'm like, but what if I really want to do this. We're like, I understand, but I just don't think you're a right fit because I mean, obviously, you end up living very. So I was like, I don't think maybe I would like to. Like, no, I'm like, so it's me that is even
It's
asking,
me,
like,
I'm
almost
telling you, I
like,
wouldn't stay.
I think so. He said, no, 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 I don't think you're going to stay, but you have a very nice CV, and I hope someone picks it up and blah blah. I'm like, well, she be, you've seen
You
like
pick
at
it
least
up.
give me the one
Give me
that you
the
can.
work now.
I'm like, what kind of rubbish is?
Okay, go.
Yeah, but also I think because also beyond the challenge you get me to, also I've been trying to getting people to reach out to me on LinkedIn to want to talk to me about roles, but then it's the language barrier becomes a problem. Again, I got this job without being able to speak German. I'm like, I mean, I understand I'm learning German at the moment, and I'm targeting to get to C1, which is
Mm-hmm.
the like the native, more like the native level speaker level of German proficiency.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, why can't just I get something, to and like you say, sometimes you're going through an interview process, halfway they tell you internal change. What is wrong with your system? Can't you
Why
just
going
wait,
for
like
internal
get
change?
in and it start this change? Because it's very annoying. Like one of the rejection mails I got last week. Well, I'm sorry, we are no longer recruiting for this position because one thing, one thing. So why were you recruiting in the first place? And after I applied, you suddenly change your
What's
mind. Like,
going
whose
with
fault
me?
is it? Yeah, I can imagine how you must have felt having to stay for such a long time not getting a job. And I think I'm realizing that one thing about I don't like working, if I'm being honest. I would rather stay home. But I also realize that when you stay out of work for a long time, you also begin to wonder, is anything wrong with me? That kind of thing. What the heck is going on? Which is very fun because why is life like this? I really don't want to be an adult. I want to be a baby and stay home all day and watch TV.
See,
But now I have all the time to watch it, and I'm also like, what is the problem?
I want to relax and be taken care of, but
You get
at the same time, there's bills to be paid,
so
man.
yes, there are bills to be paid, and that's the absolute worst. So
Mm-hmm.
now you have your job.
Yes.
How does it feel? Because do you feel like you fit into the job you're doing in terms of the work culture?
You know what? Yeah, yeah, I
Okay,
do. So I wouldn't lie, this job came as a surprise.
okay,
I wasn't supposed. So I saw this job on LinkedIn. I liked the job. I was like, hey, it's for a senior role. It wasn't beginner level, it
mm,
wasn't entry level. I was like, oh damn, it's for a senior role. I can't apply. My mom comes to visit. This is my mother, eh? She's the architect. Um,
mothers are just the best, I tell you.
I'm telling you, this woman came over for a visit. This was 2022 summer. And she came for a visit, and I was just, just random gist. And I was like, that's how I saw this job. I was like, Mom, do you remember these games that I used to play, like fashion games that day? And she was like, that's how I saw a job for one game. I've never played the game before, but like I saw the job for the game. And then I downloaded the game and I was playing it. And I was like, but it's for a senior role. So my mom was like, just apply. They used to say sometimes just apply for this thing. That the fact like the fact
Yeah,
that you've played other fashion games before is something. How about you mention that in the application? Thankfully, it was one of those LinkedIn applications where you can apply on LinkedIn.
yeah,
So that's what I
my
did.
favorite.
It's my favorite. God, don't take me to your website. I don't take me.
My favorite. When I see easy apply, I jump up
I
like,
love an easy
good, let's get it
apply.
sorted.
I love an easy apply. So I went and I did the easy apply, and there was a part in the thing that was like, what do you think about like dress and the role of dressed in fashion and tech space and the future of tech and fashion and all of that? And I literally went, how? I was like, I believe blah 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 is the future, which I do. And I was like, taking for instance, like I know how this game works because I've played Covet, which is funny enough, my company's main competitors. Like,
Yeah,
it's like I've played Covet. At the time, I was like, I've played Covet for more than 4 years now. When I think about it, that was even less because I've been playing Covet since 2016 and since 2022. So I've been playing Covet for like 6 years now. It's like I've played Covet for like close to 6 years now. So I really understand how fashion gaming and blah 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 blah. I love the fact that Dressed has real world blah, 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 blah. And because I'd done research on the game because I started playing the game. I was like, I even started playing the game. I've made it to level this on the game now, literally. And I sent it off in faith. And then I get an
Whoa.
email and they're like, we love your CV. We really love your application. I won't even lie to you. There's people even on the tech and dev team at the game who have never even played a fashion game before in their life. They came from other games. The fact that you've played a fashion game is really appealing to us. We obviously know that you're not qualified for the senior role, but a junior role just came available. Will you be willing to interview for that role? And I was like,
That's
yes,
what a
yes,
miracle
so I
is.
won't work.
I mean, what else are you talking about?
What
Why are we waiting?
was work?
It doesn't matter what level, please give me work.
She was like, but like you will have to interview tomorrow because the person who is interviewing for the role is going on vacation in the next few days. I was like, no problem.
Can we
I'm
do it today?
available. I'm very much available. I want to apply. And literally the very next day had an interview. The person goes on vacation. The HR person, I get an interview with the HR person, do the interview with the HR person. At the time I was going through hell because my flat, my tenancy agreement on my old room was coming up. I've been trying to find a place. The London housing market was just horrendous. I couldn't find a place. I had to move all my luggage into storage, go and stay with my cousin in her uni accommodation.
Whoa.
Literally for about like a week or so. And while I was in my cousin's uni accommodation, I did the final interview. And then I literally, honestly, this thing about me and things happening last minute. Because literally within that week in my cousin's place, my old flatmate and I found this place. And I was going to go back into London to sign the tenancy agreement. I was in the
Yeah.
taxi going to the train station when I get a call. I would like to offer you the role.
Nice.
I was like, when it rains, it pours, man. I was like, because this flat now that I'm going to go and sign tenancy agreement, I was going to sign in faith because I never get work. So they pay the rent.
How do I pay the rent? And then God is showing up.
And then again, I was like, well, I'm trying to pay the rent. And that's how I got it. It was the most horrendous thing. I really liked dress. The culture at dress was really great. It was one of the things I liked during the interview. They were super friendly. Um, they were all like, even on the fashion team, because the fashion team is really small, because it's a tech company. By and large, the
Yeah.
company is very much tech focused. It's devs, UI, UX guys, front end guys, back end guys, and then the content team is small. And then within
Yeah.
content, you have like the photography team and the image team, and like you have like fashion creation image team, and then there's us, the fashion team. And then within that is the smaller editorial team that does the copy, and that's like three of us. So like it was a really small fashion team. They're really lovely
Yeah.
women. It's all women. Just um,
Which makes it the best.
it makes it
Working
it
with women,
makes it good.
working with
I love
women
an
is
all woman
so
team.
nice.
I love
See,
an all
women are
woman
the
team.
best. I'm telling you, working with women is the best.
It's the
Especially if
best. And our founder is a woman. The founder of the company is a woman. So it just made sense for me, you know. And like within a
yeah.
week of joining the company, I was on a call with the founder and co-CEO. And she was talking, she was like, I heard that you've played COVID. I love that you've played COVID. I think your insights will be invaluable. It was just a really lovely, I really love the dress culture. It's really nice. Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad that you're having a ball at your workplace because the place I worked, it never felt like, and this is, it's not, don't think it's an indictment on the people. I don't think they're
Hmm.
bad people because they say the nicest things, ask how I am, ask what I've been up to, and all of that. But it still never felt half a thing like what working in Nigeria felt like.
Yeah.
Because in Nigeria, in every team you are, sometimes you begin to feel like you're friends
Hmm.
because of how Nigerian conversations are. You are
Yeah.
work, you're gisting. But here, in the office, you can hear a pin drop.
Do you think
The only
that's a German
sound,
thing?
I think it's a German thing. The only
Yeah.
sound you hear is keyboard,
Hmm.
movement. Maybe people walking around, which will happen in every office, or maybe someone asking somebody work related thing. There is
Hmm.
hardly ever a minute of gist. The only time people are gisting is maybe during lunch. And it's
Mm.
always the same questions, asked in the same monotonous tone. I used to go to work once every week. So whenever I come, like I used to work on Tuesdays, it's always
Mm.
the same. How are you? What did you do for the weekend? And once we are done, everybody faces their lunch. It's always like, and
Mm.
because I was a working student, so I was the if there's a hierarchy, I'm in the
You're
least.
at the
So I also
bottom of
don't want
the
to be
ladder.
there
Yeah.
and start hijacking conversation because you're like, the one is now mute. Should I go on? What do I say?
Mm-hmm.
So it's for the longest time, it was just me wondering. Again, I don't think it's just me not thinking maybe I don't fit into this
What culture?
because exactly why is everybody so quiet and
Mm-hmm.
just also not being sure what to say and how to say it so it's not a problem. So I'm also wondering because and I also spoke to a friend also that worked in the UK before. She mentioned that the UK people are always a bit little more focused on work than in Nigeria. But I'm like, you seem to have been a ball. You seem to have been working a
No,
team where
it's working with women, and maybe it's working
well,
in fashion, right?
okay, yeah,
I don't know
true.
about the rest of corporate, but I will say though, I don't know, maybe it's the culture of where your friend works. Because a large part of UK working culture is chatting. Once you don't chat, in most UK corporate culture, it has a negative effect on your progress within the company if
I
you're
think
not
she
knowing.
works in finance. So I think maybe
Maybe
that's
that's
why.
what it is. But like the rest of it is very chatty because you have to chat.
Okay.
You have to at least have a long conversation about like, oh, even the what you do to your for your weekend. It's a genuinely. The UK people love inane chats. Things like, oh, the weather, and I went on a trip, or I went on a this, and I went on a
And
that.
that's really chat, to be honest. That's really
They
chat.
love a good chat. Honestly, maybe it's working with women and working in fashion. I will say though, my work meetings are very much on serious, but they are
Okay.
serious to what we're doing for work. Like it's
Yeah.
what other people would consider unserious. Like if you, my mom
Unserious.
laughs every time she sees me on Zoom if she's around because she's like, literally all we're talking about is, oh, did you see what this person wore to the like during award season? It's very much we're whittling down what red carpet looks we want to do, what blah, blah blah blah. For socials, we're like, what do you think we can post on Instagram? There's a funny video of what's his face, actor guy playing guitar with his goats around him, and we're having these odd conversations
Okay,
about
I
films
think
that are
it's the
coming out.
industry then. I think
I
it's the
think it's
industry
very much
because I
the
worked in
industry.
healthcare too, so it's a very serious industry.
Oh,
Nobody has the time to because we have to talk about human health and who is going to how to manage this or that and blah 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 blah. But I think it's the
it's an
industry,
industry
yeah.
difference. Yeah.
It's an industry
Um,
thing. And then smoke breaks. Do you know I love it. I don't know if they do that in the UK.
they're masters of sport.
See, do you know when you're working with people and they say, I'm going to smoke break, and it's like, go girl. Because what? I find it fascinating because I mean I don't smoke, but I also don't think it's because I don't smoke. It's just like you've just worked here for 2 hours and just think you need this 5 minutes for yourself and you're going to take it and it doesn't count as your break.
No,
And
it
after five
doesn't.
minutes you come back, after like an hour or two, you go for another smoke break. I find it very
You know
fascinating.
what
So I
my
think even
office
if I
alternative to a
smoked, I don't
smoke
think I'll
break
be
is?
doing that. Sorry?
My office alternative to a smoke break is you want a coffee.
Okay.
I'm not even joking. Beyond the coffee in the office, opposite my office is an Leon door, and we like to call it sexy man coffee because they hire really attractive men. So like
Okay.
they do. It's almost like the Abercrombie and Fitch of coffee. So so literally we'll be working towards throughout the day and be like, oh, you want a coffee? You want to get a coffee? Yeah, let's get a coffee. And then everybody stands up and we get a coffee. We go there, wait, spend like 10 minutes getting a coffee, come back into the office and go back to work.
Nice. But I think, like in my office at the time, after the office gate, they have this stand that has an ashtray in it. It's basically where you can put out your smoke. And I think it's very common in German organizations.
Mhm.
Even universities have it. So you can basically leave the classroom, go get a
Yeah, yeah,
smoke.
yeah.
I find it very fascinating. I was like, okay.
I used to
Because
take smoke breaks, even though I didn't smoke. I just take it and stand and just chill for like 5 minutes.
I think it makes sense. But for me, because I'm an easy person, if I move waka 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 go smoke like that, I'll tire.
Yeah.
I might as well carry my laptop and go to the place and work, please, because why
Oh
are we
my
moving that far?
day. I will say though, I took a 5 minute break to recollect and like just reorganize your thoughts is really helpful. I wouldn't lie.
Yeah, I
Sometimes I
think that
just
makes
stand up
sense
and get
too.
a tea, not even go out the road, just go to the kitchen, get a coffee, or get a tea, or get a snack on the table, and
Yeah.
just stand and chill. It's also
Sure, that
like getting
helps
my
too.
eyes off my screen before I go back again and put my eyes on the screen. Just like shake my head and recollect and then go back. It's nice. It's a nice thing. I like it.
I actually love it. I love it. I actually I enjoy watching people do it. So let's talk about building a community. You've been
Mhm.
there for about 4 years.
Yeah.
So how has it been maintaining friendships that you left in Nigeria and
Ooh.
building new friends while in the UK? And have you
Hey.
been able to merge any of those friendships? That sounds like a lot of questions. Take your
No, I
time.
understand. No. I got it. I'm just smiling because I told you 2019 I kind of withdrew into myself after my
Yeah,
grandma died. So a lot of friendships fell by the wayside. I'm let's actually establish that I'm not very much a friendships person. So growing up an only child, my mom was a single mom. My mom also didn't have a bunch of friends type situation. You know Nigeria and how they treat single moms. Um and so my mom didn't have a lot of friends come over to the house type situation. So like you know how your some of your first friends are like kids of your mom's friends or like things of your this or like your parents' friends that you like so I didn't have that growing up. Um I very much learned to love my own company. I'm not one of those people like I get bored, but like I have solutions.
I mean, I
You know,
can explain myself. Yeah, I see.
I'm an entertainer of my own self. So like friendships on that, I didn't have the biggest like friendship circles type situation. Like I knew a lot of people because Abuja's small in that way. And if you're in the creative space, you kind of sort of know
Everybody.
of or know a bunch of people. So I knew a lot of people. But like tight knit friendships, very small. And then 2019, because I withdrew into myself, those friendships kind of fell by. So coming into the UK 2020, 2021, it was lonely, I will say. You know, coupled with the fact that we're still in tier 4 lockdown, so we're pretty much indoors 90% of the time. Yeah, you could go for a run, go to a park. But
Do you go for runs?
well, when the UK government says that's all you can do, I don't know.
Okay.
Because we weren't allowed to do much. Like you could go for a walk in the park like every other day and that type thing. But like it was still tier 4 lockdown and we couldn't do much. So like I was indoors for practically much of it. So I building a community in the early years. I'm still trying. I'm still building. So my friend who just moved, she likes to say she chased me for friendship, even though I won't agree. Um, we met in Nigeria in 2018 during Fashion Week. We kind of fell off from talking to each other. She was going through some things, I was going through some things. Um, I moved here. I didn't even know she had moved here too as well. And then she sends me a message like, "Oh, Vanessa, I see you in London. Do you want to?" Because she's a photographer. She's like, "Do you want to do like a mini like impromptu photo shoot in Camden Market?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So she comes, we do a shoot. Um, she comes again for something, and then she stays over at mine, and then that's how I pushed. So like her leaving is crazy to me because she's like, there's that thing of like it's rooted in the fact that we're both Nigerian from Nigeria.
Yeah.
We knew each other from Nigeria. We came here. We've been through some of the roughest things together. We've lived together for about 6 months in 2022. So like it's a tight friendship, me and her.
Friendship, yeah.
And then now she's going back to Nigeria. Now it's like I'm thinking about me having to then us having to now navigate a long distance friendship because I never had to do that. Navigate a long distance friendship. Like now it's hitting me out.
But you have to do
I
it. I
have to
mean, I think
navigate
it's
a long distance
important
friendship
too.
and like it has to work, right? But I'm building my community slowly. I hate, Nigerians, we love a good worship moment, right? So
Yeah.
I found people within that, that I'm beginning to know and love and get to know even more. Um, the family that I stayed with for about 3 weeks when I came in, they became like second family for me as well.
Yeah.
And they've done a really good job. And I give credit to the parents. They've done a really good job of establishing a community for their children. Their kids about my age and stuff. But their parents, there's this group of like 5 friends. Their parents, Nigerian people who emigrated to Nigeria like a while ago, like are all raising children here. Some of them are even still in Nigeria, like some of the friends and family, they're still in Nigeria while their kids are here. But they found a way to create like a really tight knit community for their kids. And I really am envious of that. Like I really love it for them and their children. Like they built a strong community of like, you're Nigerian. The fact that you were born here, we've raised you here, it doesn't change the fact that you're Nigerian. And they've used their own friendships to build closer friendships for their children. And I'm slowly finding my way to enter inside there. But it's hard,
Very
sometimes
important.
you can feel like an interloper,
Yeah, I know what you
in,
mean.
in this country, because a lot of them have friendship groups that they've been in since they were 3 years old, 4 years old, five
Kids.
years old,
Yeah.
right? And then here's you strolling in, like, hi guys, I'm gonna join your friendship group now. And and, and everybody's looking at you like, Kiri,
Who are
who's this
you?
one? Exactly, like who's Kwasobu? Like it's this. And it took me a minute to navigate that, to understand that there's nothing wrong with them being apprehensive about a
True.
stranger coming in to their friendship groups. And I also don't think I have to be a part of their friendship groups.
Yeah.
I can be a part of multiple friendship groups or friends with
True.
multiple people who are in different friendship groups. There's nothing. I never was
Friendship
one of those
groups.
people who wants
Yes.
to like, how people like, oh, as 6 of us, we're friends. I've never been one of those people.
I
I'm.
don't know how people pull it off.
It's hard. I don't know how they do it though.
I don't know how it's pull it off.
I have
Three,
multiple.
maybe four, maybe more than that. It's a
It's
disaster waiting to
rough.
happen.
It's rough. It's rough. But like I'm finding my people, separate little
Yeah.
things. They all have different interests and we connect on different things. Take for instance the C's of Iroko Critic.
Yes, Mr.
They're now a
C.
part of my community, you
Yeah.
know, and love them to bits. Don't let Mr. C hear that I said I love him because if I should grab him. But love Mrs. C to bits. Been to their house. Mrs. C and we've been postponing a brunch date, and we need to get to that brunch date. We've done brunch once. It was a nice boozy brunch with the C, and like the C's are beginning to be a part of my community as well. I love the fact that
Yeah.
I have people that I connect to on this thing that
Yeah.
randomly sprouted on Twitter, and now I know them in real life, love them. So I'm finding my people in different little things, be it in fashion or in film or just in church, going to worship, or people that I know from Nigeria who've moved here and like we're trying to extend those friendships now and like everyone's trying to do busy lives. There are people who I knew from Nigeria who moved here, but they're not in London, so it's harder now. I have to make a trip, it's effort. And I'm
It's
learning
a
that
thought.
now.
Yeah.
I'm learning that now that friendship requires effort and
Effort,
you
yes,
have
it
to put in
does.
the effort if you want a community, because community is important. We never really
True.
thought about how important it was, to have,
Community.
we took friendships for granted, like, oh, it's my friend, it's my friend. But like, do you have community? People who can rally around you, who you can rally around when they need you to rally to them. So I'm learning that takes effort and I have to put in the effort as well, and not just people putting in efforts for me. I have to do the same as well, and I'm learning because I'm a loner. It's an only child syndrome, you know and it's like a double-edged sword. It means I can take care of myself and I'm capable of entertaining myself and keeping myself company, but it also means that I'm inept in many ways at
Yeah.
really working those friendships. So it's a thing I'm learning to extend myself more.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good thing that you mentioned that you're putting effort into it because what people would say Madukejaka basically means that with people you become greater or you can become more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly how it is. Everybody needs community. And I think it's best to create the community before you need them.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you've not established a community, when you need help, there's nobody to stand by
Mm-hmm.
you.
Yeah.
And personally, I'm very grateful for friendship because I think most of the time when I reflect on my life, it's just because of the privilege I've had having my family, which is my
Mm-hmm.
siblings and my mom, and having my friends.
Yeah.
And I can almost always count on the fact that whatever it is, my friends are going to do what has to be done to
Mm-hmm.
make things work. And if anything else happens and I can't rely on my friends, I'm also very confident that if I go
Our
back to
family.
my mom, she's going to get on her feet and do what has to be done. If I go back
Yep.
to my siblings, any of them, they're going to stand up and do what has to be done. And I think we really need all of those things. And like I told one of my friends, before I came to Germany, I never struggled to make friends because I thought I'm a likable person. I come to a place, people like me, we
Mm-hmm.
keep it off. And I'm coming to Germany, and I think I'm still likable, but also I'm not sure anybody's looking at nobody they see my face.
Nobody they
I'm
look
like,
you or
eh,
nobody they
you
look
get,
you.
and it feels strange, but I think over the time, at least, I have like two people I know I can almost count on. And within the last couple of months, I've seen this will show up for me in a way that even left me surprised because I'm also, you know how some people do things where you're like, would I have done this thing for this person if the tables were turned? That kind of thing. And for me, I'm very grateful for things like that. And I think
Mhm.
we'll be rounding off. But before that, I'm going to ask you, have you started feeling like a proper London bee?
To be honest, no.
Okay.
No, 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 no.
What
I
what do you think would happen to make that happen?
I don't know if that's ever gonna happen, and I think that's fine.
However, fair enough.
You know, being Nigerian, no,
Okay.
it's a unique experience being
Yeah.
Nigerian, and I don't take it for granted. I love being a Nigerian babe. There's certain things about me that are too Nigerian to be British. You know, you know, right? Exactly. I can look, I can get UK body makeup down pat. I'm practicing. Uche Natori is giving me my tutorials. I can get UK body makeup down pat, pop on a wig, do all of that, look great physically. But if I should open my mouth now, I should open
The
my mouth
Nigerian
now,
will jump out.
exactly. I'm too Nigerian for that, and I love it. I love being Nigerian, and
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's ever gonna happen, and I think that's fine.
And I think that's fine too. To be honest, I think I agree with you in that respect because sometimes I wonder. I don't think I feel German, and I don't think I'll ever feel German. It does also. At first, I thought maybe it's because of the language, but I don't think even if I speak proficient German, I would never feel German. I'm also realizing because I've met Nigerians. I met a Cameroonian. Is it Cameroon Senegal? A Senegalese German. When I asked him where he was from, he said he's Senegalese. He's Senegalese. That's the right thing to say. He's from Senegal. And I remember asking him, okay, he was speaking German fluent. Like, I asked him how long he's been here. He said he was born here. His mother is German. I'm like, so it's not very common. I met a Nigerian too. He's Nigerian. He was born here. But when you ask him where he's not, he doesn't even mention the fact that basically, what I'm saying is I've met a lot of people in recent times who were born here, who speak German, who have the citizenship. But when you even ask them where they are from, they mention their parents' country.
Mhm.
Like I met someone who is, I think she's Italian. She speaks Italian fluently, but she would not tell you she's German, even though she speaks fluent German. And I think it's okay to also not feel like, even though you live here and you make your bread here, you build community. I also think it's okay to not really feel like you're part of this community in that way,
Mhm.
that you feel like you're part of the community where you're originally from. Even though I think for some people it causes them stress, but I will understand that too. But then
It's
I think
roots.
it's still okay.
It's roots. I feel like I don't want to feel rootless in a sense.
Yes,
I don't want to feel rootless. I know where I'm from. I love where I'm from. It made me who I am, you
true.
know? I don't want to lose what it is that grounded me. for
True.
a large part of my life. You know, love love being here. The UK is great, but I'm very much Nigerian, and that's my roots. I'm not gonna lose the thing that holds me into the ground.
True. I think that makes sense. I think we just end up concluding. But before we do that, I'm going to ask you. This is my personal question.
Hmm.
The audience can rest. You seem to be like, I think I watch TV and I watch films, but I don't know how you do it. You seem to be watching every new show, every new every new film all at the same time.
I don't know how
Do
I do
we
it.
do we not have the same 24 hours every day? I'm the one that is jobless, but I can't even catch up on some of the shows you've caught up on. How do you do that?
I wouldn't even lie to you. I don't know how I do it. It's a problem. It is a problem because I could be doing other things. You know, that's how do you know. I won't even lie to you. You're saying this now. After I watched the Ebuka Tons of Africa first two episodes yesterday night, I went to the What Kept Me Up because I bookmarked What Kept Me Up's tweet. They're like, as
Yeah.
Prime is dropping all these films back to back, back to back, back to back. This is all the films that are coming out if you want to keep up. So I literally went to the thing and I was like, okay, I have to decide which one I want to watch and which one I don't want to watch. And I started watching the stuff that Prime has been dropping, all the Nollywood stuff that Prime has been dropping. I watched Rush Hour yesterday. I'm gonna try and watch the two Aishas today. And then March 8th, there's like 3 films coming out. And like I know I want to watch 2 out of those. And there's still stuff coming out on Netflix as well. I watched
Yes.
Raju on Disney Plus.
Yes, I saw you tweeted about it.
I
Yeah.
loved it. I think Femi Branch was great in it. I like TV. I've loved TV from Nigeria for as long as I've loved TV and film. I was this high, I've always loved TV and film and watching TV and watching film and watching all the things.
I think I'm one of the people who are now becoming fatigued by a lot from the fact that there are a lot of choices.
Yeah.
I am a very indecisive person.
Mm-hmm.
So when you give me so many choices, I'm also like, okay,
Whoa.
what do I now
Whoa.
do?
Whoa.
And so what happens is, like some of those things you mentioned, I've not watched them. Because like, why are you putting a lot of it? And now, if I go there, I'll struggle to decide what to watch. By the time
Time
I
is
spend
doing
10, 15 minutes doing that, I shut my laptop and go and do something else. And that is why I stopped trying to find out what's getting on.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, where do I begin? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
still even watching Love is Blind for since how long it dropped. I mean, I was
I
very
gave
busy
up
at the
on Love
time
is
it
Blind
dropped.
America a long time ago.
Oh, really? Why? I mean,
I love
which one do you
Brazil.
prefer
I
now?
love love. See,
I
you people
tried
don't
Brazil, but it's so
understand.
dramatic.
This is my problem. I love love. I don't want drama. I didn't see. This is my thing about reality TV shows, like romance reality TV shows.
And you
I
love
hate
Love
that
Island.
they've made it about drama. I
The
came here
drama,
to watch
yeah.
people fall in love. I didn't come here
See,
for drama. I want love. Which is why I love Brazil. I
okay,
love Love is Blind Brazil.
I think I'll give it a go because
It's
I heard
really good. Like the first two
people talked
seasons
about
has
the
drama weirdly enough.
Japanese version. I tried watching it, but I felt I'm not so into their culture to understand some of the
Mm.
dynamics.
But
So
you
I
can
left it.
Brazil is good. And watch it with them speaking Portuguese. You know what I love about Brazil? They don't shy away from the race conversation. Like they talk about how even though Brazil like has the largest black population outside of like Nigeria, they still deal with racism in their own country and all of that. It's really good. Like even in the but there's also love. Like first 2 seasons there's a bit of drama. But like there's been I love love. There's people who are finding love.
So what we're going to do, we're going to conclude this episode and then get into this conversation. Because I imagine everybody's like, what the fuck is going on? And I know some people will be judging me for liking reality TV. Let's not get into all of that. No, no, no. So just last question. Given your experience so far, having lived in the UK for about 4 years, you went to study and now you're working. What advice would you advise someone who is considering moving to the UK? Maybe something they can prepare their mind for, maybe someone who has just arrived and they're wondering where to go from here.
Mm. If you've just arrived, whatever industry you're in, find internship, find placements. Even if it's a 2-week internship, if it's a 3-week internship, if you can do it, while you're doing your course, do it. It ups your chances of getting work in the field that you're studying in. Get internships. Do placements. It will up your chances of finding roles in the industry that you want to be in. Also, make friendships. Go outside. I know outside is expensive. I'm learning now. This year I'm gonna be outside more. Go outside. Do things. Find things. I don't mean go to the clubs. If that's your version of outside, great for you. I mean just do things. Find things that make you happy. I love a good museum. So I go to the museums quite a bit. I love going to a museum, going to a gallery type situation. I find that fun. I love the library. So I love going to the library. Go out, do things. Don't just stay at home. I know it's easy to find comfort in your personal space, especially because everything else seems strange around you. But everything will remain strange around you if you don't begin to insert yourself. So go to places, meet new people, extend yourself. Reach out, is what I'm saying. If you want to build a community, reach out. If you want to make friends, reach out. Extend yourself. Give of yourself. That's what I'm
All right. Thank you very much for that advice. And I think it makes sense because the more you are outside, the more familiar you feel to your environment, and
saying.
which also makes you feel more confident.
Hmm.
And I think also it can help you see pieces of the environment you live in that you can tie to your home country that would basically make you feel safer
Yeah,
and more integrated into the society. And just basically for the experience, if nothing
yeah,
else. And you
yeah.
can also meet people going through these experiences.
Hmm.
All
Exactly.
right. Thank you very much for your time. It's been a very insightful conversation.
Oh,
And
I'm
I think
glad. This was great.
yeah, it's been great. And I hope the people who are listening will learn one or two things. Thank you very
Oh, I
much.
hope so. Thank you so much for having me, Victor.
All right. So thank you so much for joining today's episode of the podcast. I'm glad that you're still following me and I appreciate it. And of course, subscribe, follow on your most preferred streaming platforms and recommend to your friends. For now, it's a bye and see you in the next episode. Bye.